How do you practice your Pell work? Striking, grappling, or both? Let's talk about it. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about something that occurred to me, kind of reflecting on some of my most recent fights and some of the training I've been doing recently. I just got back from Meet in Mayhem in Virginia. It was a great event. Executioners, who I fight for, we took first, fought a bunch of great teams, had a tournament, full 5v5 tournament the first day, and then we did mass battles the second day. Super fun, great location. And as always, after fights, I think back on how I did, what I did well, what I need to improve on. And overall, I was pretty happy with my performance in most of my rounds. I did go down twice to really stupid falls. One will be a highlight reel for somebody, I'm sure, when I ran at him and he just like completely sidestepped and tripped me. I was off balance. But again, that's just a mistake. I'm okay with that. What I'm thinking about more is kind of how I engaged in the openings of fights. And I found that through the beginning of the day, I was throwing very few strikes. I'm a rail fighter generally on my team, so I'm often grappling that first person across from me, trying to negate them and maybe they're number two, trying to turn them into my striker. And that's all wonderful. Or get a throw, obviously, get a throw and win. But I found myself kind of opening and just going in with the grapple of some sort, right? Some kind of grapple. So then I recognized this, and in later fights, I found myself opening with striking. That's range, right? Getting some striking in. I said to myself, cool, good job, me. But then I realized I didn't enter into a grapple with a good technique. I would either have a good grapple entry or have good striking, but I didn't use striking to move into my grapple. And we had a long ride home, so that got me thinking a lot about kind of how we do our training and how most people I see train, including us at the Knights Hall and how I train at home. And I find that if you look at our training, we kind of divide it up into a few different types of training generally. What I'm talking about is the Pell work, the bag work, the technique work, right? So we generally, or at least I do, and the people I train with, we often break our training up into striking practice or grappling practice, right? Then we pressure test all of this through sparring, and then full pressure test through live steel, right? And the sparring is different levels. It has half speed, half power, has full speed, not full power, but full speed, more power, right? And to full fighting. That's all great, but I found because I divide my striking and grappling conceptually up into two different practices, that even when I spar, I tend to focus on one or the other and separate them in almost different disciplines. So this really got me thinking about how can we combine these with our work at home, with our Pell work, with our individual training. And I'll be honest, I don't have all the answers yet. I just started this like literally yesterday. I just got home, but it's kind of thinking in my brain. I thought I'd share it out there. Maybe you all have some great ideas you want to share with me. There's some techniques that I'm not doing. So what I'm not talking about is doing grappling with weapons and shield in hand. By the way, this is my shield today. I like to do stuff without the actual weapon sometimes, so anyone can train at home. You need a stick. I got a wooden waster, but a stick, 5-pound weight. Represents my shield. So here's my, my fighting stance with my shield up. I can throw my strikes and do that. So it's kind of doing it that way, just to kind of give you more versatility with the tools you may have at your disposal. If you don't have a shield yet or don't have your sword or whatever it may be, grab a stick, grab some sort of weight. But back to the point. So it got me thinking about again how I practice this. And what I'm not talking about is grappling with weapons. We do that a lot. I do a lot of technique work. So we'll learn a new throw without weapons. Then we'll put the weapons in hand and we'll test the throw with weapons and equipment and sparring gear on to kind of see how it works in armor and how it works with tools in your hand, things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about using your strikes to open up your grappling game as a practice of study. So not something you just do in a fight. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. So, real simple, right? So you're coming in, I'm on the rail, like I said, my rail's on my left side here, which would be to your right, but I've got a wall against me here. So I'm coming up, and oftentimes, we're throwing those opening strikes, maybe a shield punch, opening strike, shield punch, I'm blocking the guy, maybe an axe on this side and throwing some strikes. And then you see this a lot, all of a sudden the striking stops, and somebody goes, oh, and just grabs. I do it too, right? Maybe even good, maybe it's an underhook, maybe it's a good opening, right? Maybe they snap the head down. I don't really care if it's a good technique or a bad one. It's that it's divided into two different motions. So how do you train that? And like I said, I'm just figuring this out. So what I'm trying to do right now is basically practice my strikes into a grapple. So I'll demonstrate it as best I can on the Pell I have here. I don't really have a way to use a grapple buddy with a Pell yet. So it's more like the striking is, contact, and then the throw is just a technique, it done in the air. But I'll do one that's real simple, right? So I'm coming in here, and normally, again, what we do is you're fighting that guy, you're throwing your shots, you're fighting that guy, you're throwing your shots, and maybe then you go in and grapple. All that does is allow that person to recover, reset, and then engage in the grapple. And if they're a better grappler, or your feet are bad, or they have better technique or in that move, you're not using your striking to throw them off. So one thing I've been working on, very simple, is opening with a strike, punch, underhook, rotate through. I'm going to grab that rail, do a rail throw. Right, so that's the entire motion. So that's become part of my Pell work. So I came in here yesterday to do my work. What I did is I did 100 strikes first, just some kind of regular method, warm myself up. After that, I said I wanted to rail throw. So I come in, strike, punch, underhook it, step through, rail throw. All I'm doing is trying to get that combination together. Now, what I don't care about is which throw you're doing right now. Right, I don't care if you don't even know that particular step of those throws, and there's 100 different throws, and we're all developing them right now as we learn the sport. That's one that I've been using that works for me. Cool, yay. But am I doing it? Am I throwing that person off balance? So ideally what I want to happen is that guy fighting me, the first thing he's got to do is, I'm a lefty versus righty, but whatever. He's going to block something somehow, right? He's off balance a little bit. Maybe I snap him back with a face punch. Now he's at this position, so as I come up and underhook him, now I'm using those strikes as my grappling opening. I just don't see many of us doing it. Even at the highest level, I was watching some of the top fighters, and it's kind of two different things, right? We kind of do this thing, and all of a sudden we come in and grapple. So I want to change that. I want to build that out. I think it's a gap in our knowledge and a gap in our technique. There's really nowhere else to learn it in the same way. You can steal some of it from MMA because they go striking to grappling, but without weapons. And I think that's the bigger difference to me. Those entries with weapons are very different. I mean, I just use the example of an underhook. So a normal underhook, I'm just coming in, I'm underhooking, just under the arm, underhook, right? Either over the shoulder, over the back, whatever it may be. With a sword, I have to kind of swing it up under or slice it through without it being a stab and hook under. My best one I've found is just to come literally up and under like this, but I have to account for that weapon. And to do that while in motion is very different than doing it kind of just as the technique. So that's basically what I've been working on, something as simple as that. So coming in, strike, throw, underhook the arm, I rotate around, throw, right? That's the motion. Another simple one, just kick the snap down, right? So you see this all the time. We see entry with this, someone throws a really good kick, boom, the guy goes, ugh, and then we continue the fight, right? Because we haven't practiced, we consider kicking a lot of comes into our striking. So it's 1, 2, kick, or it's kick, boom, boom. We do all that. That's great, but we don't turn it into a takedown necessarily. I actually landed this because I thought of this in the fight. I kicked a guy to open one of the fights. He doubled over. I didn't take advantage of it, right? I let him recover because my mind was thinking, oh, I landed the good shot. So next time I got an opportunity, a few fights later, came up, guy wasn't really watching his feet, threw the kick, he doubled over, head down, snap down, step back. That's really all it is. So maybe opening your fight like this, you throw your first couple shots, kick, snap, drag it down. Working those throws, that kind of head snap down, step back, that you might work when you're doing grappling, working it into your striking. Love to hear your thoughts. See what you think about this, because I think that it's going to be a big part of what I try to work on over the next year or so, or next few months. It's nice to be outside again. Weather's good out here, but having that ability to combine that into one fluid process versus separating my striking training, my grappling training. And we all know you kind of rise to the level of your training, right? When pressure goes on, when you get nervous, when you get your adrenaline up, you're not going to be thinking well at all, right? You're going to be falling to the level of your training, rising to the level of training, whatever you want to call it, but you'll be going to that level of what you instinctually know that you've drilled into yourself 100 times. It took me 2 years to be able to land a trip under pressure in the sport. So I've been trying forever. And actually I'll do that too. That's another one I've been working on with the striking, but just landing a simple little side sweep trip. I would land it in practice over and over again at slow speeds, at medium speeds, even at high speed sparring. But once I got in armor and just people all running around me and things going on, I would revert to like, I'm a bear, grab, and that was pretty much all I was doing, right? It took me forever to use my legs. Finally feel like that's part of my game, right? So it's that process of training it so long that it becomes instinctual. So I'll throw that one out as well. That one's real simple. So I'll do this as though I'm off the rail, so there's no left rail to my side. Again, you can be in any position for any of these. I just happen to be a rail fighter primarily, so I use what I train to talk about. So this one here is gonna be simple. So instead of just grabbing the head on the side and sweeping the leg, which is all it is, it's just a leg sweep, right? So if I step back a little further, let's see. So you grab the head, leg sweep. That's all it is, just side kicking that leg out while putting pressure against the head. And what you're doing is that body goes this way, that leg goes out, and they go plop right down. So instead of just doing that, just open it with a strike. So come in, so a strike first, head sweep leg. Right, that's all it is. Just train that body to do boom, boom. Boom, boom, over and over again. Boom. So you're coming in, maybe throw a shot hard. And all you want to do is get that boxer to react so you have an easier entry, so your grapple becomes much more effective. You don't want to, just like any kind of fighting, you don't want to see your move coming. You don't want to see your punch. You're deceiving, you're disguising, you're tricking, right? The more you can do that, the more you're going to land stuff. Grapple entry should feel the same way. Something I think we should all be working on. Something I'm going to be working on. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like, subscribe, comment, all that wonderful stuff. I'm the Woodchuck Knight. Thanks for watching.